Hello. In today's video, we're going to go over some aspects of using Git. In order to get Git in Jdeveloper and use it in the versioning navigator, I've already got it, but you need to go over to check for updates and just go through here. And when you get it, you can type Git and it'll show up. However, since I've already got it, it does not. And then you install it. And you can configure it here. You can uncheck it or check it, in which case it shows up here on the window menu. Now, some resources that are available. Obviously, this is for using a remote repository, which might be helpful. And here's an article by Chad Thompson, and this is by is it Timo Han? I thought it was Timo Han, but maybe I'm incorrect about that. I don't see his. You can look at about me. Oh, about me. Yeah, Timo Han. I was correct about that. He did a nice article. He's got two versions out now, and he says that the third one will be coming hopefully soon, and that shows how to connect to a remote directory. I might beat him to it. But let's go over and look at what he says about part one. And this is creating a Git directory in Jdeveloper. And I'm going to skip this part. But the point is that he gets it and creates the Git directory here. And we'll do that together. So first what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new application. And I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put it in C. And the reason that I don't want to put it in B is that there were some other applications that I was testing with, and sometimes Jdeveloper remembers the directories even though they're completely gone. And we'll create an empty composite. This is just a SOA project. Now this is nothing. That was a little mistake that I had two Jdevelopers open, so please excuse. So here we have the typical SOA project tree. There are no files in any of these except for here. And what we're going to do is go over to Git and, up here and version the application with Git. And kind of interesting how this works. I'm going to put it in a new directory just so that we can see, sorry, I pressed that in quickly, how it works. This is the source directory where it is now, and it's going to be moving over to a new directory. And so you can see that it's importing. And now you can see that this is, in fact, got the kind of symbols on here on the icons to show that it is been put into a repository. And you can see here that you have a master. You don't have a remote. Now the whole idea behind Git is that you have a master, generally, in fact, on a source like GitHub or some other internal source that you might have. And we're doing this again. And then you download it or clone it to your local directory. And you can see here that it did not pull in the folders that I had. And in fact, if you look here, you can see that this is the original application. If we go out to Jdeveloper directory, you can see here's the C drive and here's Git. And this is the application, and you have the Git directory right here. And here's the original directory with no Git folder in it. And here is the information. Now, that part is fairly clear. The thing that I don't really particularly care about this is that it seems that the Git directory is intimately connected to the project, and if something goes wrong in the project, how do you separate out your repository from your project files? So I find it a little bit difficult to work with, And Timo goes over that here in this thing. And in fact, when he pulls it over, he doesn't change the directory. You can see here that the directory is exactly the same. I put it in a new directory here because I wanted to show you the difference and where it goes and how the two applications are created. So that is a little bit confusing, the fact that one, it's got the Git files directly in here, and if you do something wrong in your composite, you have to somehow pull out the files again. So I'm not really comfortable with doing it this way. I'm much more comfortable doing it with a remote directory where if you clone it and you pull in the files here, or you fetch or pull, and then you work with it, and you can do branches and such in your local directory, and the remote directory would, down here in the lower left, would be connected to the, or somehow linked to the remote directory on the server or in the cloud, for that matter. So I have a few problems with this, although you can say that it is in a repository. So I'm not going to use this. Actually, I will show you something. If we put a Bevel process in here and we just create it, now you will see that, and we save this here. Let me see. Now that's interesting. Let's see. Maybe I'm in the wrong directory here. Let's get this one. Oh, you know what? I was in the wrong one. That was the original one that I had done. Now you can see that the XSD files were created. And so you do have this very typical tree created as you put the components necessary onto the screen. So it does work. Now, in fact, if we go over to the pending changes, we can see that there are now, there we go. I'm going to just add it. I'm not going to do anything here. Now then this is kind of interesting also, and Timo does go over this in his. Now this one, it only took the one, and okay, I usually do this one first. It pulls this in, and then it takes it. Oftentimes, I'm going to put another Bevel process in there, or business rule. Let's just put that in there. And that took a little bit of time. But, okay, so now we have these two. Let's see if we have any candidates there. No. And I'm going to do this. There are no files. So you have to actually add it, and then you can do this. So it's got an extra step in here. Now, the other thing that's kind of interesting about this, and I'm really not going to do too much about it, but you can create a, I don't think I want to use this. What I want to do is go up to versioning. Here we are. And branch, create branch. And I'm going to just call it new. Okay, and refresh it. Now you can see that we have the new and the master. Now, it's rather confusing because the term checkout, which in Subversion means, basically download it, this is now going to, instead of pulling it down and into your local JDev, it's actually changing the tree that you're on. We were on the master, and when we did updates, it would go to the master. Now it's going to the new. So anything I do now would be saved to the new directory, or the new branch, excuse me, instead of the master. So slightly different way of using things. And also, and this is a little bit difficult here because I don't have a remote, but normally when you're using Git, you would make the changes here, and then you would come on up to the, maybe up here, and you would do Git, and you would push it, which means to force it out to the remote server. And we will do that in the next video. So this is just a general overview of some of the things using Git. I don't particularly like how the Git files or the Git directory is intimately associated with the application. I'd rather have it in its own separate directory. And the next way of doing it, and also I'd like to have a copy out on the version, out on a cloud somewhere. In the next video, I will be doing and showing you how to do that. So thank you very much. I hope this was helpful.